What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing kind of an update on the GTI, and obviously there's something new behind it that I haven't shared. This car's been here for like a month or two now, and I haven't really showed it off, and so we're going to be doing that today as well, and explaining where the car that formerly occupied its spot that a lot of OG fans of this channel adored, where it vanished off to, and you know, I'll kind of just explain the presence of this Ford Fusion in the back here. So, we're going to start off with this car, my GTI. This is, of course, my 2017 GTI. Of course, if you guys are new to the channel, it's got HPA Cata downpipe, VLAN headlights that were not advertised to fit GTIs, but I said, I'm going to do it anyway because I do what I want. And so, I hooked them up, and of course, they work flawless. And as well as it having a CTS turbo inlet elbow and a new speed intake as well on top of all of that. So, the car, pretty much outside of all those things, is mostly stock wheels, stock suspension, stock exhaust outside of the downpipe. I mean, it's a pretty basic car build, and if you know, people can consider to build at this point yet, we haven't really gotten into all the heavy stuff that will be happening to this car very soon. So I've got multiple things in mind, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm planning on doing with this car and that I'm really just kind of at a fork with, because I have enough money to buy both, and I'm choosing to be an adult and save money. So of course, you got to start somewhere, and you know, having a big boy adult job now, I have to kind of focus on paying bills and saving money for other expenses in the future, such as getting a house and, you know, moving just along and being an adult. So this car, of course, I've got two things in mind that I'm kind of stuck on. I'm torn between getting wheels and tires or getting a tune on the car, and I've been getting a mixed bag from everybody. My inner circle, my friends, and my parents in particular are very big on going wheels and tires first, while the social media side, I posted on TikTok. Of course, if you guys don't follow my TikTok, it's in the banner, it's in the description, I believe, as well. I mentioned this in a TikTok. I was like, you know, wheels and tires or a tune, and it's been overwhelming tune. So I'm kind of at like a fork, and I'm stuck. Because part of me is like, I could go ahead and get the car tuned and make 330 wheel and 407 torque, which is a huge bump. It's 130, it's like 120 horsepower bump from stock. And I mean, it's big for HPA stage 2. Or go wheels and tires. Now, of course, the argument against the tune has been you're not going to hook on those 225s with 120 extra horsepower over the stock GTIs. And that is very true. These tires already don't hook on stock power because for some reason the dealer put really cheap tires on this car, and I'm just kind of just like, you know, not a fan of it. But the wheels and tires I chose, I'm gonna probably buy because I just really like this style. It's some Vors SP1s. These are just very simple 5 spokes with a bit of a dish to them. They're 18 by 8 plus 35, so it's a really good offset. I think it's going to fit flush without any need for spacers, which is ideally what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to have a spacer car. I don't trust spacers, regardless of they're hub centric or not. It's not something I trust. I know that there are good spacers out there, there are bad spacers out there. It's, you know, it's more, if I can avoid having spacers, I will do it. And these wheels are perfect in terms of fitment, and it's what I'm looking for. On bumping up the tires to a tier 35, I want to get a bit more grip on this car without bumping all the way to a 245. Because I originally was going to do that, but I think that in terms of 245s, it's when you start having rubbing issues and have to modify fender liners and all that kind of stuff. It's not something I want to do. I want to keep the car pretty OEM as much as I can on that front. So I'm going to go 18 by 8s with 235s. I'm torn between like 3 different tires. 4 if you include like the cheaper option. Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, which are the most expensive, but probably going to be the best performance of the group. Continental DW SO6s, which are very good tires. My friend Ron, you guys might have seen over on Kaysen's channel, Lazy VQ recently, has DW SO6s on his Veloster N, which has a JB4 tune on it, and it hooks really well. I rode in this car yesterday, and it was great. It gripped and just didn't really seem to spin all that much. And that are some Pirelli P0s that are like more performance oriented tires, because of course I'm looking for performance tires. I don't live in an environment where it snows very often, and of course with my job they probably shut down court if it snowed, and so it's not that big of a deal for me. And I don't live in a very cold climate. I mean, Georgia doesn't get very cold very often, and so you know, it's not something I really have to worry about terribly often. So I'm really just torn between those two things. It's just, oh yeah, the other tires, I forgot about those. So I did the Pirellis, I did the Continentals, and the Michelins. And of course, if I want the cheap option, Lexani sells tires. And according to the 2 reviews Fitment Industry has on them, they're very good tires. And they're like the cheapest of the bunch, like $450 to $480 for the set. But of course, those two cars were Veloster turbos that I assume probably were mostly stock. So of course, 160, 180 horsepower four-cylinder to a 330 horsepower four-cylinder, it's going to be a huge difference in terms of how those tires are going to react. So of course, I'm a bit hesitant on those. So the Luxani's are kind of in the back of the grid, even though they are the cheapest, and will keep my setup from being much more than $1,300. But I may wind up going with either the Continentals or the Michelins. The Pirellis are there, but I've heard kind of mixed things about Pirelli tires. Lazy VQ had him on his old Sentra, and he did not like them very much. So I'm just kind of torn between those four, but more than likely it'll be between the Michelins and the Continentals, depending on how much I'm willing to spend on tires, because it will get rather pricey with the Michelins, almost about $2,000 for the setup. But yeah, that's the GTI in a nutshell. I know I spoke a little bit longer than I would have liked to, but now we're going to focus on the Fusion behind it, because this car has yet to be seen on video, and I've kind of kept it out of the spotlight. So let's talk about that car. Let me move the camera. All right, so yeah, this is my brother's new car. This takes over the part of the family that the Kia Spectra 5 once held, which I'm sure a lot of OG fans are going to be upset about and are going to be disappointed, because for some reason out between the Sport Track and it had way more of a fan base than the Sport Track ever did, which was such a weird thing, because I did 2 videos on the Spectra. But for those who are hoping to have another Ford in the family, here you go, we have another one. So this is a 2019 Fusion Platinum my brother bought recently. It's got the 2.0 EcoBoost, it's fully loaded, it's got AC seats, the whole 9 yards, remote start. I mean, the car is very loaded and very, 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 very comfortable. It's a very good car for him. At first, he claimed he could beat the GTI in a race. I quickly showed him that was otherwise. And the car overall, though, has been really good to him. He really loves this thing. And my brother is very much an old man in a young man's body. So I think this is definitely the kind of car for him. It just fits his personality. Of course, like I said, it is the 2-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder turbo. That is the Focus ST engine. So it makes 250 horsepower, which is a pretty solid number. But of course, this one being, I believe it is all-wheel drive as well. It weighs a lot. So definitely not like your most nimble track car, but I think for what he bought this for, which was to be his daily, his comfortable daily that's reliable and all that kind of stuff, even though EcoBoost do have a rep, the 4-cylinder, the 2.0 in particular, and not having, like, you know, the most greatest rep, but of course it's a 3.5 that really catches all the heat for reliability. This car has had a hiccup, and that is because the coolant lines randomly blew off the engine 2 days after he bought it, and we had to save it from overheating and melting its head gasket. So not a fun time for the first couple of days of ownership, but after they replaced that, it's been fine ever since. The car has not had any trouble. It's been just perfect. And so my brother's very happy, and I hope you guys will enjoy seeing it in the background, because absolutely nothing's happening with this car. My brother has zero plans to modify it, except he has briefly tossed around the idea of putting a blow-off valve, because it's a turbo car. He's always wanted a turbo car to make sneezy noises, and so who knows, we might do a blow-off valve on this car at some point, but I highly doubt it, because my brother's not that big into cars, and I think that this is more just, you know, his daily. He wanted something comfortable and kind of bougie, so he got like a fully loaded Fusion. But anyway, that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed just kind of getting an update on the GTI. Let me know what you guys would do if you were in my spot. Would you go with the 120 extra horsepower, excuse me, but on stock 225s that just aren't great tires, or would you go ahead and get wheels and tires and prepare for it ahead of time? Now keep in mind that I've got these two, but one is going to happen after the other, so regardless of which one happens sooner, the other will happen pretty much right behind it. It's just more just trying to get my savings account built and moving towards the world of buying a home one day. So that's kind of where I'm at, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content coming soon on the GTI in particular. And we will see you guys next time. Have a fantastic day, guys. Stay safe. And yeah, stay tuned for more coming soon. Also, quick note, Caffeine Octane's moving 40 minutes away from my house, and I'm very excited. So yeah, expect that coming in August. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna stop rambling. See you guys later. Have a great day.
With